Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the Yakima DeepSpace 10 ladder rack cargo box right here on our 2021 Toyota Tacoma. So this is an interesting cargo box in that it's not really designed as a rooftop cargo box. You can definitely see those options here at etrailer, like the Yakima CBX, where it's a lot more aerodynamic. So this is a ladder rack cargo box, a little bit different from the rooftop cargo boxes you might have seen around. You can see it's not as aerodynamic, but it has its own special features. This one is super easy to take off and carry into your campsite. Then you have a hard shell tote to keep it on top of your vehicle when you're driving, and when you arrive at the campsite or the resort or wherever you have your adventures, you also have your gear ready to go. So you can see here how this is actually a pretty compact roof box. We have a lot of space still on our ladder rack for other accessories. Like I have 2 bike racks here. We have space for 1 more even, especially with how tall this is. We could probably clear it with the handlebars, but let's take some measurements just to give you an idea of how it will work on your ladder rack system on your Tacoma. So we have 68-inch long crossbars. The amount of space we now have left with our roof box kind of towards as far to the edge as we can get it is a usable crossbar space of 47 inches. That's going to be measured right over here to the end cap over there. What I do recommend doing, especially if you have other accessories on there, is to mount this to your overhang on your ladder rack if you have overhang. So spacing this out from one clamp to another, it sits at about 14 inches from one end to the other end, and that's how much space you have for your clamps. Of course, your box takes a little bit more, but notice how we can fit this right over here and the other clamp on the inside. What if you have a bike behind your box and you want to open the lid? Some rooftop cargo boxes stick out way out when you open the lid here, measuring from the end of our box, which is where we were talking about usable bar space earlier, to right where this lid opens. It sits out at 5 inches of length added. So that's just going to be something worth considering when you have your bikes. Notice how if you have your pedals in the upright position, you're more likely to clear. You could also just have the pedals down. If you find out we work right over here, your handlebars are going to clear. Just something worth considering when you have other accessories beside you. So let's talk about the box itself. So you get 2 keys with this in order to lock it, and then this just fits right in there, and with it unlocked, you can now open up the box. So you don't really have a lever or latch you have to manipulate. You have those hinges on that side, and you can only open it on one side. So be mindful of where you have your box mounted just to make it easier to load and unload. On the inside, we have these 2 buckles and 2 straps. So these are going to work as your anchor points. They have pretty much integrated anchor points into the cams, or I guess into the cradles for your crossbars. And these just tighten down just to strap your cargo in. So these were the keys for our box, and if you have other Yakima accessories, I highly recommend utilizing their same key system lock cores, where you can just switch out all the lock cores with ones that are keyed alike. So like here, we have our Yakima bike rack. I can use these keys with this bike rack, and then I can use it with the box, and I don't have to keep track of multiple keys on my keychain. So for the install process, it's kind of tricky if you don't know what you're doing at first. So that's what this video is for. I'm going to guide you through the process. What's included with your box is going to be this clamp that goes on your crossbars, these wing nuts, and this plate that goes on top of your box, or I guess in your box. What's not included, but I highly recommend adding to your garage, is this tire step. Very, very helpful when you have it, especially on a ladder rack like this, because then you get that height and that traction and that reach to install these clamps. So I already installed the 3 other clamps so that we can install this 4th one together. Notice where I have my crossbar space, they're 35 inches apart from each other, center to center. You have a little wiggle room with that depending on how your crossbars are spaced, but this just goes in around the crossbars. This plate fits into the clamp. So just get those holes lined up with the U-bolts. Now use these wing nuts to secure them on top. So they should just feed right onto there. So once all 4 clamps are tightened down, which includes 8 wing nuts, you really didn't need any tools for this install process. Everything was included. But once you've just verified everything is nice and secure, that's it for the install process. But now for my personal thoughts about this whole combination is I'm really glad we were able to see this on a taller ladder rack. That's definitely not something that's going to be the norm. If you are going to have it on this ladder rack, definitely check out those aero boxes. But it was cool to see how compact this was, as well as how easy it was just to kind of open, load stuff in. You had all that space. I kind of wish the clamps were easier to use and take off, since there's 8 different wing nuts that you'd have to deal with in order to take it off of your ladder rack. That will take some time. It's very easy to do, but just a little bit more tedious. So just remember, if you are going to go for that system with the purpose of using this as your campsite, as basically a luggage carrier, then something worth considering or spending or devoting time for. But other than that, we have really good weight capacity. We have really good storage capacity. This works well on our ladder rack and is definitely helpful if you have other Yakima accessories, because then you can utilize that same key system. So if you really like this fit, then it definitely fits on your Toyota Tacoma. And that was a look here at our Yakima DeepSpace 10 ladder rack cargo box right here on our 2021 Toyota Tacoma. My name is Evangeline, and I hope you enjoyed the journey.